episode 15 question mark? Is it?
Period.
It's episode 15. So it
Yes.
is episode 15. If not, we're saying it's episode 15 anyway.
Can confirm.
This is going to be a golf episode.
Ooh.
Much to your opposite of,
me
what's the opposite of chagrin? Like obviously like happiness, but is
I
there
don't
a
even know
word
what chagrin means. So yeah.
Anyway, no one knows what I mean. It's been lost in translation. But this episode I'm super pumped for because we have an interview with my cousin and his wife, who played college golf. So Jacob and Heather Leavitt, and she's from Scotland. There's a lot of questions we could have gotten into. We kept it as a short 30-minute interview.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably have them back at some point. But she's from Scotland, played golf there. Then they both played at Elon. So little questions about what college golf is like. And then we're obviously talking about the Masters, which
didn't your cousin play on, was it Team Scotland in some event or something?
Yeah, I think she played.
I can't remember which event, but she played for.
Yeah, because she played like junior
Scotland.
stuff over there for like Scotland. It's pretty sweet. So like we could do a whole podcast just with her.
And then your other cousin played some mini tour events, which I think is fascinating. I might quit my job and play mini tour events. I think you should.
But so anyway, we have that coming up. And if you're coming just for that interview, you can see in the show notes, there'll be a timestamp. You can jump there. But before that, OBJ has landed somewhere. He's in Baltimore, ironically, where Jake and Heather are as well.
Yes, he landed the PJ at Baltimore.
Yeah. We will see if...
Lamar Jackson still hadn't resigned.
Well, I was going to say, we'll see if that affects it.
It's got to.
Well, I'm wondering if there's part of the negotiations behind the scene of like, can you get me a like solid receiver, and they land OBJ, and if that changes things for him. We'll see.
I don't know, because what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? He's like, I want to trade. Like,
yeah,
publicly said he wanted to trade.
But you never know what's leveraging techniques versus
that's true.
Like what's negotiation versus actual.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, that happened. Also in the NFL, the number 0 is going to be allowed this year, I think. So now it's like for quarterbacks, you can wear number 0 to 19.
I don't know
running
if I
backs.
like that.
I used to not like it, but I mean, so many people do it in college. So quarterbacks is like 0 to 19 now. Running backs 0 to 49 or 80 to 89, which feels like a very receiver number, but I guess you're allowed.
I don't like that.
Fullback, halfback, same thing. Wide receiver, same thing. Tight end, same thing. Offensive lineman 50 to 79. Defensive lineman 50 to 79, and then 90 to 99. Linebacker, everything except for 60 to 89. Defensive back 0 to 49, so on, so on. But everyone can wear 0 except for offensive and defensive linemen. Poor guys. They can't be 0. They can't be double 0. They can't be nothing. It starts with a 0.
I really feel like the only players that should be able to wear a 0 is the kicker and the punter.
Really? Nah, dude. Defensive backs wearing a 0 is tight, safe, or like any of those. And then sometimes receivers or tight ends, like if they're built tight end, not like a faster receiving tight end, looks sick.
You think so? I don't know. I don't know if I'm a fan yet. I'll have to see.
You'll have to wait and see.
Because they do 0s in college.
Do they do 0s?
Yeah.
So we'll see if anyone switch. I think there's a few people.
Yeah, quarterback's going to be a 0?
No, I wouldn't like that. I don't like that.
No.
That's not classic.
Every time I make, like when I used to play Madden, I was a quarterback course. Like, create a player, and I was always 2.
Were you always like 6'5", 250, solid muscle
too?
No. Were you like 5'5", 100 pounds?
I was always like 6'1". I was like my normal height, but I was like lightning fast. I just had a crazy arm strength.
I used to always make him ridiculous, like either 6'6" and jacked, or like really short and as fat as possible, but like really fast.
I wanted to be like at least somewhat realistic.
Yeah. Oh man. So Bruins, you want to talk about them?
Oh, the Bruins have broken the single season win record. I'm now a bandwagon Bruins.
Christian just picks whatever team's winning.
But I will say, well, it's because Scott. I haven't ridden with an NHL team yet, and I'm going to ride with my guy Scott on this. And so I think it was 63. They won the 63rd game, broke the record. Yeah. Seriously, what a great season. But even they said it. If you don't win the cup, what's it for?
That's true.
What's it for?
All right. So before we jump into the Masters and everything, we have your new segment, Today in History.
So on this day, April 11th, the Dead Sea Scrolls was announced to the public. April 11th, 1948. And then also, Andrew Ponzi set a world record in New York billiards tournament when he ran 127 balls straight.
That's nuts.
127 in a row.
Think
about that. How many do you have
Do you
to hit
just
in?
keep re-racking and
I
going?
guess,
or-
yeah. It says Andrew Ponce, yeah, New York Billiards Tournament.
That's insane.
127. That's how many games is that?
I don't know.
Anyway, that's a lot of
Yeah.
games.
It's pretty nuts. That's cool. Well, jumping on, we'll try to keep this quick and get to the interview. But for the Masters, obviously, big storyline going on is the weather. So they had weird delays and everything. But did you see the trees falling?
Yes.
Everyone did. I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
asking like that.
Yeah.
It was
I mean, the weather was not great. A couple trees fell. Luckily, no one was injured, which was a big positive. But that kind of set the tree fell, as did Koepka's game.
Dude, that is true. That is true.
Right?
But like, so with the trees, I didn't think about this, but one of my buddies works for a grounds crew here, and we were watching the Final Four together, and it was storming. And he's like, "Can we just pray that there are no trees down in the morning?" And I was like, "Wait, I didn't think about that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you get there like 5 a.m, and then there's trees down. You have to pull out the chainsaw and start going to town." And so this was like obviously in the Final Four like a week before,
Right.
And I'm thinking about that, and then the tree drops during the Masters, and I'm like, dang, they're about to hop on it, pull
Yeah.
the chainsaws out and go to town. And they did. They cleaned it up so fast. Like they did a great job with it.
They
But
were ready.
it was just interesting because I never really thought about that. It's like one of those things that's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, but you don't really think about it before
Right.
and all that stuff that goes on behind it. And then with the weather, like I felt like they did a great job of, I mean, as to be expected with Augusta, but like
First class. I mean, they're just, the landscaping is just unbelievable and how fast it is. It's just like what is it, 2 inches of rain between Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday looked just like a normal golf course.
That's so impressive. To me. Like the
really
people
is.
working and like making it like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then Tiger barely made the cut.
He made the cut, though.
He made the cut.
Didn't he set the record? 23
He
straight?
tied it.
He tied it.
So it was
okay.
23 and he was at 22 before. And then did he bogey 18 or was it 17?
I'm pretty sure he went bogey.
Yeah, because he had dropped down to +1.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it went bogey finish. Because
So-
they were like, he wasn't going to make it. But then Thomas blew up and missed the cut
Yes.
at +4. So then it put the cut line at +3.
Which, I mean, I felt bad. Like, obviously, when he withdrew, like, he was in so much pain.
Yeah.
Looked miserable.
Gosh,
but
man.
also, you know that he just wanted to make the cut to keep the record
Correct.
going. Because it's not like if you miss it, it's not like he's going to ever get that opportunity again. He's not
Right.
going to go make.
So that begs the question, is this the last time we see Tiger Woods?
No, I think he goes for the solo lead.
The what?
The solo lead on the record. So if he's tied at 23, I think he goes for 24.
Oh, God, seriously.
Plus, I don't think that this is the way that he wants to go out withdrawing like that.
I know.
But I mean, it also depends because
That guy
the
is-
accident was a year and a half ago.
Something like that.
Something
Couple
like
years
that.
ago, yeah.
You would think that, I don't know, like maybe he's just not going to recover with a lot of
Yeah,
things.
he's 47 now. So he'll be
He's only 47.
So he'll be 48, I believe. Next Masters. Yeah. Yeah. Man, you got a rainbow behind you too.
Nice. Look at these lights. These lights have a mind of
Look
their
at
own.
it. Seriously, it's a rainbow.
Should I just leave it? What's up, everyone? See that?
You can't even see it actually. Why?
Can't even see it. Did it change? Oh no, I thought it changed back. That's crazy.
Oh.
But Tiger, 48, right? Is that what he said?
Yep.
I feel
He'll
like
be 48 next year.
he'll be
I think.
48 next year. Mickelson going off at 52.
That was crazy.
Shooting a 65 on a Sunday at
That was-
52.
That was insane to watch. And they showed like his final like 6 holes because he really wasn't in contention. He started the day at 1 under. And then all of a sudden he was 4 under. And all of a sudden he was 5 under. And then he birdied like 3 out of the last 4 or
Yeah.
something. Insane.
Well, because Spieth was going off.
They
and
were-
so
they
you're
were
watching
grouped
him.
together.
Yeah, and you watched him going up, and then all of a sudden you just see Mickelson just climbing up the leaderboard.
Yes. And Spieth too. It was so
Yeah.
fun to watch Spieth and Mickelson make so many birdies. And Spieth is one of those people too. It's like, you always see Spieth, you're like, well, he didn't play well on Saturday, and so he's out of it. And then all of a sudden on Sunday, he's in 3rd place. And you're like,
Quite the opposite of what Brooksy did.
yeah, gosh, I didn't want to talk about it.
I mean, I'm glad that we had Spieth and Mickelson going off because it was a really boring Sunday afternoon
It was.
when Rahm just started taking off and then Brooks just started dropping. Like,
Yeah.
pretty much about, what is it, the 12th hole where you can get into trouble? Is that the part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen corner.
Yeah. So
par
it's
3.
like at that point, when Rahm parred that, it's like, okay, it's done.
Yeah. And there's 17 and 18 are also really tough holes, and 11's a really tough
Well,
par
18,
4.
he hits it into the trees and then still pars it.
That was just actually nuts, to be honest. But what I was going to say is the front 9 was riveting. Like watching Spieth do all, because they were
Yeah.
like 9 holes ahead of the
Yeah.
final group. Watching Spieth make all the birdies, Mickelson make all the birdies. There was a time when Rahm was not, I think Rahm was 10 under, but 7 guys were 6 under. And you
Dude.
were like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then Rahm birdied a couple. I forgot.
Cameron Young was even climbing into
I
it.
know, but that's what I'm saying. Rahm birdied a couple and Koepka proceeded to bogey a couple.
He also had a couple birdies that like rimmed out that he ended up
did.
getting like pars and stuff on. So it was like very, I don't know, it was kind of exciting for a little bit. Then
It
got
was,
boring.
but like I said, once, because Rahm was, I forgot, maybe he was up 2 or 3 after 9, and then he birdied 12 or 13. And then that just kind of like, he was up 4 with like 5
And you
to
could just
go.
see Brooks Koepka was snowballing. Like it was pulling a me golf game where it's just all in his head. And
You want to talk about like the worst feeling though? Like I imagine that has to be the worst feeling as a golfer. Now he did win $1.4 million or whatever it was.
yeah,
so
tough day.
It was a tough day. But when you're in the final pairing and you just like don't have it that day,
Yeah.
and you're just getting beat like in front of everyone, it's like that's tough.
But I mean, 2 live golfers in the final 3 or the top 3.
3.
3.
Reed, Mickelson.
Well, I guess, yeah, because Reed
Yeah.
was tied for it. So I don't really follow golf that much, but when Jacob and Heather were here, we were talking about it. And I didn't know that Patrick Reed's just like a scumbag.
He is. Yeah.
Like
in the
just-
last few years, he's cheated a couple, or like there's been some really dicey
Well,
situations.
apparently he would like steal from his college teammates' golf bags and stuff like that.
exactly. Dicey guy.
Dicey guy.
There's some rumors about Patrick Reed that like that they're rumors.
Little,
so who knows?
but who knows? The
I've
stuff that we
never-
do know
oh.
aren't good.
But anyway, overall, I mean, good for Rahm. I mean, for winning it. I think on even Seve, who was a Spanish golfer. I think it was
Saw
the
that.
40th anniversary. So, congratulations, Rahm. I just did not want Rahm to win. Like, I would rather see like
You just love America.
Spieth, yeah, an American win. Exactly. I actually do not like when international golfers win, to be honest.
I'm telling Heather you said that.
Yeah. Sorry, Heather.
I really, really, obviously it wasn't this year, but really want Rory to get the Grand Slam. I don't know if he will.
It is, he talked about it, and announcers were talking about it. Like, he just needs the Masters, but he didn't even make the cut. Like, it is so in his head.
Yeah.
Like, he blew 1 Masters. I forgot what year it was.
I remember that one, but I don't know.
Maybe it was 13. I don't know. It was a while ago, but he blew a Masters. And ever since then, he has just I don't know. It's just not pretty. But I would like to see, and I'd like to see, which one does Spieth need? He might need the Open or I don't know, maybe the US Open. But career Grand Slams are so rare.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys know that, right? Like a major is rare enough. But if you have a career Grand Slam, like there's only been like 3 people in the history of golf to do that, maybe 4. So it's like, that's very rare company. And so Roy knows that, Spieth knows that. And it's like, it's tough. But it would be cool to see. I agree.
And then the last piece from it, I guess, is Sam Bennett. Like, really, that was cool seeing
I agree.
amateur go off.
So fun, man. It's so fun to see the amateur. He was in the final pairing on a Saturday, which, I mean, that never happens.
Right.
And also, I mean, he didn't play as well the last 2 days. But you got to give him so much credit because he was in the national spotlight, especially on Saturday, Sunday. And so he went from like 8 under to 4 under. But still, he finished the Masters at 3 or 3 under, I believe. Like, that's solid. Like, you finished the Masters. He finished like tied 17th, I think.
Yeah. And I guess his first round, the bogey-free round, was the first bogey-free round by an amateur since, I think it was 65.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And I think he set the lowest 2-day amateur score
When he was
Thursday,
-8.
Friday.
That's
Yep.
cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, he played really kudos to him. He had his college coach on the bag, Texas A&M. His head coach was on the bag. And so that was pretty cool. But anyway, I mean, all in all, I thought it was good. I just wish the back 9 would have been
Yeah.
a little bit closer.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Well, Iceman, he said he was going to do some Masters. Figured we were going to talk about that.
Yep.
So I'm not sure what today is. Excited to hear it. He's rocking the red Nike.
My man's growing a beard.
Yeah, in honor of Tiger, obviously. So see what he has to say.
What's up, everybody? This week's Unsung Hero proves that sometimes to be an unsung hero, you just have to be in the right place at the right time. Francis Zuber is a downhill skier that loves to go out and find some fresh pow and shred some gnar with his skis. He found himself on Mount Baker in the northwestern corner of Washington State with a couple buddies just going for a fresh downhill ski. When he noticed after passing a section of trees, a red snowboard poking out of the snow. He looked back and realized at that moment that the snowboard was attached to somebody who had fallen down into a tree well, and they were head down in the snow, completely buried, and all that was sticking out was their snowboard. Francis then takes off, slows down, stops, takes off his own skis, and uses them like a ladder to help himself climb back up the mountain to some extent, and goes in and starts digging out Ian Steger. The two have reunited recently, and I don't think you're going to find a better story from this past week. And that's why Francis Zuber is this week's unsung hero.
Dang.
Saved a man's life.
That's so cool. I mean, that's crazy too, to even just like notice the snowboard sticking out and like see someone and then go back. Cause I mean, think about how many things you just notice and you don't really think anything of, sort of think anything of it. And then
especially when I feel like, I mean, it sounds like he was a pretty good skier. So I imagine he was going pretty quick. Like, he was like me going on the bunny slopes, just like.
Yeah, passing it at like half a mile an hour. Yeah. You're actually
like,
walking.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, those are legs.
Well, good job, cool. Zuber. Whatever his last name was. That's good.
Yeah, that's sweet. Nice work, Iceman. And then for the Florida man, since you always win, we're up in the stakes for you.
We gotta change it up.
We're changing it up.
Joe got tired of being a loser.
I got tired of being a loser. And I probably still am, 100% still am a loser. But now, instead of being story 1 or story 2 is true, it could be story 1's true, story 2 true, or both stories are true.
Do I have to guess a particular story that's fake if I do that?
Yeah, it can't be like one story. You have to say story 1's true, story 2's true, or they're both true.
Got it. So 33% chance of getting this.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or your gut, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, think about what you've subconsciously thought about that you didn't tell me that I could subconsciously have heard through your subconscious thinking or whatever you said last week.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with my gut. This is tough rods this time.
All right. Probably you're 10-4 and about to be 11-4 probably. But story number 1. In St. Petersburg, a Florida man walked into a laundromat and pulled his pants down and took a dump on the floor. As if that wasn't crazy enough, the man proceeded to pick his turd up with his hand and cram it into the soap compartment of one of the washer machines.
Oh.
Nasty. That's just disgusting. Very vile. Story number 2. In Boca Raton, a Florida man was arrested for disturbing the peace after he was spotted in 3 different locations shouting obscenities and threatening to destroy everyone with an army of iguanas. Shortly after the man who calls himself the Apostle was released from police custody, he was arrested again for breaking store windows and walking down the sidewalk with 9 iguanas on a leash.
Oh, man. I tell you what, that is crazy.
Watch out for the Apostle.
All right, man. The gut's talking again.
All right, let's hear the
But
guts
now the
talking.
odds are just not as good, so I'm feeling a lot less confident. But my gut says story 1's true, story 2 is false.
You're right. You're right. You're complaining about the odds changing.
33% odds, and I still nailed the 33, baby. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So you're complaining about it. Now you're confident with it. Story 2 was originally, there is a true one that I changed. It was outside of Orlando. There was a guy who called himself the Saint, and he was going to destroy everyone with an army of turtles. But he never brought the turtles into it. But he was arrested for disturbing the peace and shouting
9
obscenities.
iguanas on leashes, baby. My gut, hey.
That's wild.
Tried to change it up, did change it up, and still lost.
Yeah, like I said, 11-4. Dang.
You might as well stack.
You have the script.
You might as well stack the odds even more.
That's ridiculous.
You might as well do 12 stories. Which one's the fake one?
That's ridiculous. All right. Well, without further ado, we'll move on. We're going to jump into the interview with Jacob and Heather, talk golf, all those things. Hope you enjoy it. And as always, if you don't mind sharing the show, leaving a little rating, that'd be great.
You guys can watch the Masters?
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The tiger looks in pain.
Yes.
The poor
A
guy.
lot. It's kind of, I'm not a huge tiger fan, but it's sad to see
It
a little
is.
bit.
Yeah, you can just see him like wincing.
Yeah. Did you see the video of him limping?
Yeah.
It's very sad.
That was
He made the cut though.
Yeah, you made the
Yeah,
cut.
he looks like he didn't want to.
Yes, I know.
I feel like he wanted for only the record. So that because he's tied
Yeah.
now at
Yeah.
23 consecutive.
23, right? Yeah.
And so
And
that's
Fred Couples. How old is my guy Fred?
He's
Ancient.
guaranteed to play well at Masters every year.
Guaranteed. But he's like, is he 60?
He's 63.
63.
63 to
Yeah.
make the cut at the Masters.
It's crazy.
I think
McElroy
he's
did
the
it.
oldest.
McElroy missed it, but Fred
Mhm.
Couples made it.
And Tiger made it on one leg, and McElroy missed it.
Yeah.
With the bad cut of weather too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you what, watching it and seeing like, because Koepka's played bad for a long time, or at least
Mhm.
last few years, and
Yeah.
watching him absolutely destroy right now. And we're recording this on Saturday night, so he might completely fail tomorrow, but it's been fun to see.
I think it'd be really cool to see a live person win.
Yeah.
I know you feel very strongly.
I'm not anti a live person winning. I'm anti Koepka winning.
Oh, how come?
he just seems like a miserable
douchebag.
person. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like. He seems disrespectful to other players to me, and I don't like that.
Well, did you watch the full swing?
Yes,
Yeah.
and he was
I did too.
miserable.
So
Like
sad.
Yeah.
his wife was like trying to show him what she was going to wear on her bachelorette and
Right.
all that stuff, and he's just sitting there like, I suck at golf.
He looked like a little
Yeah.
puppy.
He did, and he's like kind of entitled to me, like
Yes.
sitting in his mansion with all his trophies and complaining about how he can't win anymore.
You didn't like him before that, though.
I
too.
didn't like him for that either, but Full Swing really confirmed how much I dislike him.
So I used to really like him.
Mhm.
Like just because I love the fact that he brought like bravado into golf. And I think
Yeah.
golf needs a lot more of like the meatheads, to be honest, or like
Mhm.
just like the good athletes. And then it kind of turned for me to where now I'm like I'm not a huge fan anymore. So I'm pretty apathetic about him just because the full swing and like what he said
Yeah.
lately.
It was not what I would have expected. Like,
Yeah.
just the persona he gives off, it would have been like, I don't really care. They're not playing well. Just really good. And it was not what I still think it'd be really cool to see him win, though.
I did too. He's been going through mentally for the last few years at least. And then the amateur.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's been so fun to see. The guy, I think he's 20. Where does he go?
I think A&M.
Texas
A&M.
Yeah,
A&M.
23 years old, I think. And I mean, first of all, just to make the cut's unbelievable. But to be in the final pairing on a Saturday, that's
Yeah.
some pretty cool stuff.
And he'll technically be final pairing on a Sunday. Technically.
Well,
When
yeah,
they finish, yeah.
Yeah, because they have 12, I think 12 more holes left. So it goes into kind of playing in the rain because I know you guys have played a lot of golf, right? And I've played a decent amount of golf myself, and playing in the rain just sucks,
Mhm.
right? Like, do you like it?
I didn't mind it. It was
Okay.
like, I don't know. I feel like it depended on
There's
when.
pros and cons.
Yes.
I
A lot of
think
cons for me, but yes.
it's the way I always looked at it. It's at least in college with tournaments is a mental like battle, and the way we were always told by our coach was, you know that 80% of the people out here don't even want to be here. So if you can at least try to want to be here, you're already winning that part.
Mm.
So it was like
Good
kind of
mindset to
it
have.
was like a easy way to get ahead of everyone before you even tee off.
Gotcha.
It still sucks, but
Yeah, I did not have that
Yeah.
mindset piece in high school. I can promise you
Yeah.
that.
And I feel like once you get wet too, like, you're just kind of like, then you're just wet and you're just out there and it's like,
Yeah.
kind of,
depends if it's cold.
that's true.
Yes, I was
That's
about to
true.
say,
Like
so
if
it's
it's
like-
That's true.
warm and
It's like
wet, it's
45
fine.
and raining. And
Yeah.
that's like,
It's kind of miserable.
that's very miserable. But they're still hitting some great shots. Like, I don't know how. Because last time I played in the rain, we played in a Barstool Classic, funny enough, in Pinehurst. We were playing Pinehurst, or Southern Pines. That's where we played. And we played a practice round Sunday. It was beautiful, 76. It was kind of like yesterday at Augusta was. And then we played the actual match at Barstool, the Barstool Classic, and it was 43 in rating. And it was the most miserable thing I've ever been a part of. I was a part of the 80% that wanted to get out
Yeah.
of there. I was like, I'm so done, right? I'm not turning professionally at all. So for you guys, because you played at Elon,
Mhm.
is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm fascinated. I guess it gets like kind of accentuated more towards like the PGA Tour and like as you get better, but like the mental aspect of the game, right? So I played in high school, so I'm really curious to see like the difference in the mental game from high school to college.
Yeah, I think it is a huge difference. Like I at least felt I had a lot of experience going into college that a lot of other people didn't, just from traveling Europe and playing and stuff like that, and playing a lot of tournaments.
Because you're from Scotland.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So played all throughout Europe as a junior, and did a lot of that and played against a lot of different people. And then we'd have girls on our team who hadn't played in AJGA or anything big and just like really struggled with getting in like tournament mold, or even just having the discipline to practice on their own, or even just like focus and practice with the team. So mentally it is really different. I mean, going to college in general, not even playing sport, is mentally a lot different from being in high
Gotta do
school.
laundry.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a big switch.
I feel like it's weird too and you did international teams, so it was different, but it was weird going from a very individual sport, like when you played it as junior and then now you're part of a team, and it's really not a team sport. Like they make it a team
course.
Yeah, like they make it a team sport in college, and it's really fun. And like I really enjoyed that part of it, but it's weird to take that very individual sport and then now it's like you're part of a team. It's a weird adjustment of how to handle that, I think.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated like by the PGA Tour guys who are like just so confident. I guess like game mode's a good way to put it, but like they're just like in the zone. I never discovered that zone in golf, right? Because it was like whenever we'd go play these big tournaments, I think I just put too much pressure. And like, so how did you guys like when you were playing college tournaments? How did you get quote unquote like mentally in the zone?
Yeah, I feel like it. I mean, I feel like it's kind of exactly what you said. Of like the more you care about it, like the worst tournaments I probably played, or that, and like the best tournament that I can remember playing was I played it as like an individual, and you weren't even part of the team, and there's just no like there wasn't any pressure. So there's definitely something to be said for, and probably the people who are really really good college golfers, maybe do a better job of that, but. There's definitely, it's hard. I think it's really hard, like to not put pressure on yourself. And that's probably why you see the people that are really, really good are able to do that or handle it better. I don't know. I feel like
that's so interesting to me. It's just like to be really good and handle it like that. Like the only person I know that's that good and handles it like that is Joe. And Joe, I mean, some huge drives today, right?
Yeah, like I'm pretty consistently in the under 200 range on a round. So I'm pretty good, guys.
Yeah. And that's birdies.
Yeah.
It was very impressive today.
It was.
Stop it.
Caitlin was impressed.
You want to hop on? Come back here.
Yeah, hop on the mic real quick.
She was our cheerleader the whole way around.
What do you think about your husband, Caitlin?
Hello, everyone. Thought Joe did great. And he looked good doing it.
You heard that.
Come on.
You heard that, everyone.
Gosh, the latter is so much better than the former. Oh my gosh. So and if I remember correctly, Joe, something you played after college for a little bit. What was that like?
It was interesting. It was like I was an okay college golfer and a very not good professional golfer. There's definitely, like you talk about, the jump from high school to college, and then there's I would say bigger jump from college to professional, where it's like you go for this is the thing you do. And it was a very interesting experience that I'm like very glad that I did, but was not, I'm glad I'm done doing that now.
Sure.
But it's a very different mentality. And it's really like, it's crazy to see how many, like, cause I was just on mini tours and the people who are there, 30, 40 people that play those every single week that are insanely good. They're like, like every single time you come in from around, like somebody who shot 64 every day. And it's like, so it was a cool experience, but it was like, people are unbelievably good. And
what's the biggest difference? Cause I'm thinking like, there's a pretty big difference for me. Cause I didn't play in college, but I had a couple buddies who did. And they were just like, they just didn't make as many mistakes and they were just very consistent. But like, what's the difference between like playing a high level competitive golf in college to like, now we're trying to make the tour, now we're on mini tours? Like, what's the difference between that?
I think it's probably the same, same thing where you just have, the people who were in high school that didn't make very many mistakes, they all went to college and played. And then out of those people, you have a lot of people, you have a very few group of people who, don't make mistakes also. And they go and play. And then you also have a lot of people that are better. A lot of it is, a lot of people out there are really, really good. And like we had a lot of, you can make the argument that the guy who wins shooting 20 under on the, mini tour is not really playing that differently than somebody who wins on the Corn Ferry Tour. And that person who wins on the Corn Ferry Tour is definitely not playing that much differently than who won on the PGA Tour that week. It's all about how, And I think there's a mental progression. I would imagine, I never made it that far, but I'd imagine there's a mental progression of, the same thing where you jump, each time you have to like we were kind of talking about, where you have to understand how to not put pressure on yourself. But like, there are so many people who, you just go and watch them play and you're like, and I was like not a very good professional, and you'd be like, you've got to be good enough to like keep doing this. And it's, or, like as good as anybody is doing it. It's crazy.
And financially too, right? Like, isn't it like I know there's sponsorship exemptions sometimes, but isn't there like an entry fee per tournament? And
it's essentially like, especially the mini tour level, it's pretty much organized gambling of like where you're.
It's really expensive.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
Yeah.
It's
really?
Like, yeah.
I mean, like, can you just like share numbers here?
It's probably I don't remember exactly, but you'd pay like to play a mini tour event. It's pretty much like you'd put. It's basically whatever it's a couple $100, and you put everybody puts their entry fee in, and then the top X percent. I think you had to come like top 20 or so to make your money back, and then you would make a little bit on top of that, and and then you have to pay for traveling, so your hotel room and all that stuff. So it's like it's and then the thing that's like, I kind of get that for the mini tours where it's like that's just expensive to do, but it's the same thing for, I think you have to be, I saw somebody said the top 60 on the Corn Ferry Tour to like break even, which is crazy. Like, so you're top.
On the Corn Ferry Tour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just very like.
Just under for those who don't know, just under the PGA.
Yeah. So it's like, it's unlike any other sport that any other major sport, in that like there's not a minor league, that pays for you. You don't make a lot on other things, but it's, it's a really hard, it's a hard career to like go after. So
yeah. And it's like, I feel like it's kind of like tennis almost, where it's like, unless you're like a top 50 or 100 player in the world, you don't make much at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Joe, I feel like JP goes through that, like when he works with different tennis players, like I'm sure some of them do pretty well, but like the ones who are quote unquote pro, but trying to make it.
Yeah. A lot of the sports are just hard to.
I know.
You have the individual ones, like the top group make it, and then there's a lot of people underneath it that are just struggling, working hard, grinding.
Yeah. So what do you think? I have two questions that I debate with my friends all the time. Okay. And I would love the perspective of two good golfers here. So how much of golf is natural ability versus skill is the first question. Like deliberate practice, like that type of stuff. Like how much, like could you be a really unathletic person, but start golf at 2 and just make it to the PGA?
I think you could be really good. I'm not sure if you'd make it to the PGA. I don't know if you would agree with that. I'm trying, like the best golfers I know are the ones who are really natural.
Right.
And probably didn't do as well as they could have because they didn't work as hard as at it as they maybe would have if they weren't so natural. But I think there's just like a little bit of being a natural that takes you so far. On the days where you don't want to work hard, you can fall back on the fact that you're a natural talent.
Gotcha.
I would, there are definitely some anomalies that you see, like, like Zach Johnson's probably, like a D3 golfer. Like you have somebody like that'll go through but they're, hundreds of, probably thousands of people that are playing, trying to play professional golf just in, America, not even talking about overseas. And so, some of those people are just going to be naturally gifted and have a leg up that, not to say you can't make it, but there's definitely a better chance. And I think that's going to be more so as people continue to hit it further and further like that. I think that's going to become, because there are some people like you're just probably not going to be able to hit it that far. And it's, I think that's going to become more of a detriment.
I still don't understand how Justin Thomas hits it that far. He's like 5'9", 150.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, he's like Joe's size.
Yeah, small guy. So they are taking the stance that it is natural gifting. Is that fair? You have to take a side.
So, yeah. I think natural gifting. I
would disagree.
I'd probably go natural. I think you've got more chance of being successful if you're naturally gifted, because I think you have to work so hard at golf if you're not. I think it's kind of like, it's Matt Fitzpatrick versus Dustin Johnson.
Right.
Like Matt Fitzpatrick is gifted, but like works harder than anyone else. And Dustin Johnson is like just an athlete and doesn't have to work hard. both very successful, but it's like it's a longer journey for Matt Fitzpatrick, and not as many people would be willing to
I see.
do that. I'd say.
I think he also turned pro at 19, but
Yeah, but still, he worked hard.
he did.
Yeah.
Like, I feel I do agree. You definitely have a better chance if you're naturally gifted, but I feel like it's one of the only sports that you could make it not be naturally gifted. So like I do think you don't.
Yeah.
You don't
like,
have to be an athlete.
Like you're not going to see anybody that's 5'2" in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. Well, I personally struggle with the question. I read a book called The Talent Code, and it talked about like specific things in your brain, like myelin and some other like learning, quote unquote, like I guess parts of your brain are like accentuated from 4 to 12, right? So from age 4 to 12 is when like most golfers, piano players, like specific skill players, like have like practice so much between that age. And so I always found it funny though, because the PGA Tour is like, this guy's a natural, but he had a swing coach at 4.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
He's a
That's
natural
true.
who has been coached his entire life.
Yeah.
yeah. Like he's had a swing coach he was 4. Like, you know, obviously his family did well. I agree. I think it's both. I think you have people on the PGA Tour who just like a Koepka. I think Koepka's like naturally gifted.
Yeah, he's an
right?
athlete.
Yeah, he's just straight up an athlete. And I'm sure there was a time where he practiced a lot, but there's some people like a Jordan Spieth or even like Scotty Scheffler had the same path where like from age 5, they're at a
Yeah.
country club and like they have a swing coach and, you know.
I do feel like I feel like that are all the people who are really naturally gifted. I feel like they're still, because there's so many people that are naturally gifted. I feel like pretty much everybody on the PGA Tour is still working like crazy hard at all of it.
Agreed.
Like I'll bet there a handful of people like Dustin Johnson that don't really have to do a lot to keep that up. But
Right.
I feel like even now, like you have to still work. I would think you still have to work really, really hard
Yeah.
with how many people are playing.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah.
good
For
it
sure.
is.
So that leads to the second question, which is one I argue all the time with my friends. And it is, say you had a company, right? Or whatever, and you sold it at 40, okay?
Mhm.
For $20 million. Doesn't matter the number, but you didn't have to work the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
And from 40 to 50, you had a swing coach, you practice 5 times a week, like you even at your guys' level. By age 50, if we give you 10 years, could you make the PGA Tour of Champions?
Us personally, or
Yeah,
just
I'm
someone?
saying you personally.
I think maybe. I guess like the women's version.
Mhm.
I think I could. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to say yes, but I feel like I tried it for a year and a half and was not. So like,
I feel
wanna
like
say
you have
yes,
the
but-
skill.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, I don't know. I want to say yes, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the answer is yes.
Yeah,
Like,
I think-
that's
yeah.
yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I'd like to
like
think
even
so.
for me, I'm like
Yeah.
year 4, I'm destroying. Like
Yeah.
I might make the PGA.
Yeah.
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 No, but it's like if you get a swing coach and money's not an issue, like you can do, you can practice and do whatever you want. I
Mhm.
think it's so fun because you see like 2 different sides of the argument. Like I have some buddies who like suck at golf and they arguably could never be a scratch golfer ever, let alone like,
Yeah.
and they're like, dude, I could easily do that. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like you want it. Like, I don't know. You definitely want to say yes. Like, I feel like you could.
Yeah. I'd
you
like
know?
to think so.
Yeah, you always could. Like, but I feel like I feel like it'd still be hard. Like,
Well,
it would
what's
definitely
your
not be.
what's your lowest round?
65, I think.
4 of those get you in.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
And you got 10 years
No,
to
that's
do
true.
it.
Yeah.
That's true.
You
That's
got 10
true.
years to line up that. So what are you? What's your lowest round?
66.
Good golf.
What's yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
67.
What's yours,
Do you
Joe?
want to ask mine?
Yeah, what's yours?
An 83 with an asterisk.
Yeah. It's my story is hilarious because I grew up playing middle and high school and like was a very decently average high school golfer.
Mhm.
Right? Like I could have went like to a very small school, like just was like a good, decently average golfer. And then COVID hit. Even when I was like working in like a quote unquote business setting, but I was playing more golf during
Mhm.
COVID
Yeah.
than I did even in high school. And I got better in COVID than I did even in high school. And then it started being so fun. And so I wasted so much money and played all the time. And then now I haven't played much. So I'm not nearly as good as what I was a couple years ago. But
Yeah, we don't play hardly. This is the first time we've played since Christmas.
Yeah, it was my first time
And
playing
we'll
the year.
play. Yeah,
yeah, you shot 1 under.
he did. Yeah. casually.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like
real-
though, because you guys have practiced so much though, that it's like it's a lot easier to shake the rust off, right?
You'd think
I
so.
mean-
From a good
And-
score,
yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
like you could probably break 80 blindfolded.
I'd hopefully. But I think the tough, at least where I am, I'm not as good as I was, but I still expect
think,
myself to be
yes.
as good as I am. So it's frustrating to not be. But I still
It's
have
so
fun. But I'm
frustrating.
still like competitive, and I still want to play well. And so it's really annoying when I don't. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I agree. It's so annoying
Mhm.
because like now I just don't play that much, and so I
Yeah.
just like I'm just not that good, and it gets so frustrating. 'Cause you're like I'm supposed like I want to
Yeah.
shoot 68 today. It's like
Yeah.
I'm shooting like 84, and you're like this is not it.
Yeah.
I feel like the exact opposite. I'm like, I'm just totally content now that I'm just like, I'm not that
gotta
good.
have
I'm
your
like,
mindset.
I'm like, I'm just not
But
that
then
good.
you always shoot well. Like every
It's
time
the
I played,
mindset, though.
every time I
Yeah.
played with him though, he's
Mindset.
like, "Yeah, I haven't played in 6 months or whatever. It's gonna be a terrible round." Then once was like 3 under, once I think was 4 under, once was 1 under.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely very like I'm not gonna be that good anymore. Like it doesn't bother me.
You
It's
play,
such a good
yeah.
mindset.
You play better
Maybe,
when
I
you
don't
don't.
know. Maybe not.
Yeah, no, that's such a
Yeah.
great. I mean, there's because whenever I go out there, I'm like, I'm just gonna have fun with boys, and I just want to break 90, and like I'm gonna break 90, and
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah.
it's so fun, and it's a lot less pressure, and I typically those are the days where I play well. But when we play together, I was like, I'm gonna show Joe how fucking good I am,
Mhm.
and so I did not play that well.
Yeah, it's funny how it
did
always
not.
works like that. You
Yeah.
can't try to play well and like
Yeah.
you just have to. I don't know.
You always play better when you don't put pressure on yourself.
Yeah, well, maybe that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's
That
time
could
to
be it
take the
too.
career.
The last question I want to ask, because this is something I think about a lot. What is your best shot of your career, or the best shot of your career? Is there one where it's like maybe it was maybe it was a practice round, it was just a crazy shot, or maybe it was like tournament style and it was like a clutch shot? It doesn't matter. You can take it either way, but I'm curious, like the best shot of your career.
I was playing in Iceland in
Wow.
summer 2016, I think. And I was playing with the Scotland team, and it was alternate shot, myself and my partner, and we were on the 19th hole. I can't even remember who we were playing against. It was par 3, and my partner hit it long right the green. And it was like a 2-tier green, but like not traditionally like back to front,
Mhm,
but side to
mhm.
side. And so the pin was on the bottom tier on the left of the green, and I just hit like a really clutch chip to like a foot to win the match.
Oh, that had to feel good.
Yeah. I remember that
awesome.
one.
Yeah. That's cool.
I don't have a great memory, but I'd
Me either.
probably say
Can't remember anything.
Yeah.
that's bad. It was I had a lot of practice with this sort of thing. Like you were talking about being in the trees earlier. We were doing qualifying for a tournament in college, and I was like way down in the woods. Like, or I think our coach specifically told me to like punch out. No. And I think I hit a pitching wedge like way in the woods and the leaves and everything. It was like a 70-yard snap hook from like 170 yards. And it like
Just turned it over.
yeah, it just like snapped onto the green and somehow ended up going to like 10 feet. And pretty sure I missed the putt, but that was the best shot I
that
think that I
fires
can remember
me up.
hitting. That was
Gosh,
great.
That's so cool. And then because you did that though, you will try that the rest
Yeah,
of your
100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was also I drove it really poorly. So I was in
Yeah.
the trees so much that I had a lot of practice on hitting ridiculous things like
Yeah.
that. So, but I remember that was probably, I also remember I was specifically told not to do that, but
And you did.
yeah.
Yeah. That's like me. One of my best shots, like I hit a long driver off the deck on a par 5 and just stuck it on the green. And I was like, well, I'm going to do this forever. Every time I have 265 in a par 5, it's like
Yeah.
pulling the driver.
Yeah, it's a dangerous, like, it's almost better than like not
Yeah.
hit it like that. But then you're like, well,
Be
I
screwed or something.
can definitely do it again. Like,
Heather is lethal with the driver off the deck, though.
It's my favorite shot.
That's so, I love,
scary.
gosh, I
Yeah.
love driver
So
off the D.
consistent.
I
I
love
like-
big D off the D.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love it.
Yeah. I like hitting driver out of the trees. It's
Oh,
a new trick I learned last few years. Because I carry a lot of hybrids, so I don't carry a 4-iron or a 5-iron. So if I'm punching out, I can't keep it low enough. But pine straw like lifts the ball up a little bit, and driver goes so low. It's awesome.
I would love to see that.
You should try it.
That's
It's a
pretty
good
cool.
shot.
No, I'd love to see you do it. I'm not pulling driver off the deck.
it is one of the most disheartening things ever too. Like when we'll play, and if you can get like, I'll hit it further, so like I can cut the corner, and I'll have a wedge in, and then she'll hit driver off the deck to like 8 feet, and then you hit a wedge further away, and it's like the most disheartening thing ever because you're like, it's
I
insane.
get a lot of practice.
It is really impressive.
I have a long way into the green almost every hole.
Yeah, it is incredibly impressive.
That's great.
Well, I got a couple questions for you, Heather. I'm curious, how does golf in Europe compared to when you came over here, and were there any things that surprised you about golf culture in the US?
Compared to Scotland specifically, I'd say the lack of walking. Like we don't really have golf carts at home. But like my home club maybe has like 5 golf carts for visitors.
Or like elderly people?
Or Americans.
Yeah, Americans.
So walking a lot more. And the cost, it costs a fortune here to play golf. Like it's insane. Like at home, we don't have initiation fees. It's not thousands of dollars a month. Like it's be like £600 a year. A year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I was a member of like a nice-ish club, not crazy, but had 2 courses. One was a championship course, like the first links course Tom Watson ever played. And it's just cheap.
I feel like literally everybody plays golf because of that, probably.
Yeah. It's super popular. It's just, yeah. That's probably the biggest difference, I'd say. Obviously, links courses, I grew up playing links courses, so I love them.
Style-wise different.
Yeah, style-wise is different. But throughout Europe, that changes. Like I've played, y'all call them parkland courses? Like inland courses, like not links courses across Europe, and they're similar to here, but it's links course specifically. It's such a different way to play golf. Like I came here and it was all about how far do you carry it and just go for the flag.
Ooh.
Like you're always shoot the flag, hit that number when you're playing over here. And at home it would be shoot the flag, take off 30 yards, look at the left side of the green where the slope is, and if you want to hit it there and run it up. Like it's just completely different type of game.
Which one do you like more?
Probably links golf. I think it suits my game better because you don't get punished as much for bad shots, I'd say. You can get away with them. But you can also get punished for good shots because they can get bad bounces. I think you have to be more creative, and that's kind of fun. You'd love it because you can putt from 100 yards out.
Texas wedge only.
Texas wedge, baby.
Only. That's pretty cool.
I love that because, side note, the worst part about golf for me is out of bounds. I hate out of bounds.
It's such a bad concept.
I do. Like, even if you end up being like, okay, fine, like just drop one, like just the fact that to re-tee it just pisses me off.
Well, especially if you can find the ball. Like if you can see
Yes.
it and it's out of
Like, you
bounds.
should just be able
You're
to
like
hit it.
2 inches out.
Yeah, like if your house is on a golf course, then then tough. Like somebody's going to play out it. Yeah, just like you're going to play out of the yard. Like
Yeah, I don't know why they just don't like, because it would be so much less of a penalty if you're like, all right, take a stroke and then just drop here. And then it's like, all right, I can still hopefully salvage bogey, right? Par 4, but like, if you hit it again, good luck with hopefully double.
Yeah,
OB's tough. But I grew up with OB. Like the first 6 holes of my home course has a railway, like tight.
very tight.
It's very tight.
I've been on that railway many times.
So yeah, we definitely grew up with OB, so I learned to stay away from that part. But
Fair enough.
the rest of it's different. It's fun, and I haven't found a link. Like I've played the ocean course, and like that's a links course, but not the same to me.
I feel like the rough is nothing like.
Yeah, the rough at home is like up to my waist, and here you'd probably always find your ball in the rough. If you go in the rough at home, you're probably not finding it. Yeah.
Really hard.
I don't want to hit out of that.
No, you can hit out. Like it's really hard to like move the ball for me at least, once it's in there.
Yeah.
Because it's so long. And then we have gorse bushes as well, or like huge staple of Scottish golf. It's a really spiky bush. And like you can find your ball in it, but you're not going to hit it out because it's spiky. Like, yeah. But that's a huge staple for Scottish golf courses.
They're not in the fairway though, right?
No,
Gosh, that'd be
like
the
this.
They're not far though.
They're not far off
They'll
fairway.
be like 10 feet off the fairway sometimes.
Yeah.
And then
That's
your ball's
crazy.
just gone.
And if you might hit it in the middle of the fairway, hit a hill and bounce straight left into a guard's bush.
Oh, I would cry. I'd probably break my driver. I've calmed
It's
down.
frustrating. So.
I'm a lot more calm in my old age.
What's the coolest place y'all have played?
I love Pinehurst. Pinehurst in general, like all of the courses, and I love Kiowa. I also like St. Andrews.
Yeah, I thought
very
Carnoustie for me. I
Yeah,
thought that was the
Carnoustie's
coolest course
fun.
I've played.
What's it called?
Carnoustie, that where they played.
The Open.
Yeah, played the Open a lot. It was really cool. It was so hard, but I thought it was a lot of fun. That was my favorite course I've ever played.
Yeah, it's a hard course. It's like, because people always compare the old course and Carnoustie,
Okay.
and the old course is like the pinnacle, but Carnoustie is like the good course. The old course isn't hard if it's not windy.
Right.
The Carnoustie is always hard. Bunkers are horrific.
Like big pot bunkers.
Like
Big bunkers in
the
general.
lip is like 3 times as tall as me, and it's middle of the fairway.
Awful.
In the roughs, really, the fairways are tight, the rough's tall. Like it's
Good test. It's fun.
fun. You can shoot I think I shot in the 80s when I played
You
there,
did.
and I had a blast. It was so much fun.
Oh,
Mhm.
cool.
Like I don't know, it's different.
Yeah.
Like I feel like even when you shoot a lot, like it's still really fun because it's so different and just cool.
You gotta be creative too, I feel like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But yeah, I love Kiowa. We played Kiowa a lot in college, and we played Ocean, Turtle, Oak Point, and Osprey. They're just fun. I think it's nostalgic as well. Like it was fun to go and stay in like the condos with the team,
Yeah.
and it's always nice weather and really cool courses.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play Kiowa. Never got a chance. I need
Lots of gators.
Big Gator guy.
to. Yeah. Yeah.
Big Gator guy.
Big Clemson fan over there too.
Them fighting words. You're supposed to be a Gamecock fan these days.
I am a big Gamecock fan. Go Beamer.
Should we do the draft?
Oh yeah, we should
Sure.
definitely do the draft. Type of club that I guess is like your most favorite or one you love to play with the most or whatever, just feels good in your hands. So we'll start with you and then we'll do Jacob, me, Joe.
Okay, this one I know none of y'all have in your bag, so I'm gonna take it.
Driver out the
My 5 hybrid. Love my 5 hybrid.
Nice.
Like a frying pan. Just goes so high. And I hit it straighter than my 9 iron. So my
That's
favorite.
awesome.
I'll go 8-iron. Really I like the way an 8-iron looks. I don't really know why. It just looks good.
Distance wise, you're like you got an 8 on your hand, you're fired up.
Yeah, I like that. It's just like I don't know. There's something about like an 8-iron just shaped a little differently than like a different iron. And it's like suits my eye well.
So I thought you were gonna say my club and I was gonna get pissed, but mine's a 7 iron. And this
Oh.
is why. Back when I was playing a lot, right, a couple years ago, I was kind of douchey about it. And I'd beat my friends with a 7 iron only.
That's pretty
Like
bad.
I'd
That's
drive with a 7
impressive.
iron, I'd pull a 7 iron. Yeah.
I've played a couple holes with just a 7-iron. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But just so no one else can have it, I'm taking a putter. That's my first pick.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I thought for sure you'd be a driver guy.
Yeah.
no,
I mean, I
what the
would.
heck?
I
This
just
was
knew
a
you'd be the
strategic
driver guy.
pick. I don't want anyone else to have a putter.
All right, fair enough.
I will take 56-degree wedge. Nice sand wedge. I chip with it almost exclusively. Yeah, it feels good. I warm up with it. First club I hit when I warm up.
Dang.
I'll go with a 2-iron.
Ooh,
Wow, you can hit one of those.
I feel like
I don't think
that's
anyone else is going to choose that.
gosh, that's so sexy.
I feel like that's a.
That
You
just
can,
turned me on.
yeah, I feel like you can get in a lot of trouble with the 2-iron, but it's
Yeah.
like a good club to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So my number 2 is my number 4 iron, just because I'm in the woods a lot and I can do some
Mhm.
dangerous things
There
with
you
that
go.
bad boy. Some bananas.
We're locking in a driver. Y'all give me a driver and a putter. Let's go.
That's so funny.
Last one.
If y'all give me my last club, it's Dunzo.
I guess I'll go 3-wood.
Oh,
If I can't have driver, I'll go 3-wood. I have a nice Titleist 3-wood. that I've had a while, and I love it. Yeah, 3 wood.
I feel like I'm really close to your second club, but I'll do a 58-degree wedge. So like I can't chip with anything other than that. So that's just kind of yeah.
Don't go 60.
No,
I
go 58.
have a 60. I love a 60.
I'm 58, 54, 50. Is that where you are, Jacob?
Yeah, 58, 54, 50.
I think I'm going to switch to that, to be honest.
I like it better.
What are you?
56, 52. I don't know.
Do you have a 60? No.
I could never like hit a 60.
Mm-hmm.
It was only beneficial for chipping here and there.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like the real way to go is 52, 58. Because like I have a 50 and a 54, and like you really don't like you don't need both of those.
Yeah.
I feel like it.
I have 52, 56, 60. But I really only use my 60 for like flop shots and sharp bunker shots,
Right.
I'd say.
As you should.
But
I
it's
just like
fun.
don't know how to chip.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
Fair enough. So my number 3 is something I should tee off with more often, a 3 hybrid. I got a sweet Rogue 3 hybrid that we enjoy a lot. A lot sometimes.
A lot sometimes. My team's stacked. I'm going to pitch and wedge. I've got a driver, a pitch and wedge, and a putter. And I can
could
hit
beat
my
all
of us right now.
hit my pitching wedge like 155, or I can use it like around the green. Not that I can actually hit anything around the green, but hypothetically I could. So my team's stacked.
You also
Yeah.
hit your pitching wedge further than anybody I've ever seen hit a pitching wedge.
It's a
in
strong
my
one.
life.
Like I think it's 44.
It's not that, but like that's not. You still
Well,
hit
I'm
like,
a strong person.
you hit like 160 yards. It's insane.
Joe gets 3-hour workouts in. He's pretty strong.
Craziness.
Anyway, this was fun. Thanks,
was
guys.
fun.
for-
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
y'all
having
for
us.
having us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thanks for being
I'll have to
on.
have you back.
Anytime.
And I want a golf invite next time.
You got to earn it.
Fair enough.